Hey guys, it's Vantastic here, and yeah, it's been a while. It's been like about a month since I last uploaded a video, and I just wanted to let everybody know that I'm okay. I'm alright. I did not go to the other world. Yeah, it's just been busy since then, and I feel as though y'all deserve to be updated, posted, to be informed as to what happened and why I was gone for so long. And well, got a little crazy, and I think the only way I can really best describe what happened would be to start from like the very beginning with my job, former job. So, way back in May of last year, around like National Hiring Day, I went and applied for a job at, I can't say the real name, I'm just gonna use like an acronym for it. I worked at a place called Heights, applied for Heights, and got the job there as a senior stalker. I would basically come in at about afternoon. I come in the afternoon, work with a couple other guys to unload a freight truck. If there were loose boxes, I'd pallet stack them, and pallet stack them high enough to a relatively acceptable height, like not too high as to where if we pull it the slightest turn we'll just send everything tumbling down the customer. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. So yeah, pallet stack freight, pull the pallets to the main floor, sweep up the place, if there's still time left in our shift, help stock the stuff or help other departments, etc. And you know, for the first few months, it was a relatively nice job. It was pretty good. It was about me, it's about me and 4 other people, so we were a team of 5, we were pretty set. But then around late November, early December, our manager, who's there today, who hired me and basically worked with me, he was a really great manager. Like, he worked with me to get my schedule in order so it wouldn't clash or conflict with my classes. He was very understandable and actually cared for my department, and it was pretty nice. But then abruptly out of nowhere, he just quit, and I didn't even know until like a week or 2 ago. So we were basically working managerless, and yeah, then around the time Pokemon Legends Arceus came out, we got our 6th guy, and I thought everything was gonna be great, we were gonna be set. And we also got a new manager, but we never met them, or at least I don't think they ever came in. Anyway, we got our 6th guy, and for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna name him. It's a character that I don't like. I'm struggling so hard with this. Just think of a character you don't like and name them after him. It's not that hard. Why do I suck at this? Oh wait, just call him by his nickname. Okay, we called him Caveman, and I'll explain later, and you'll soon find out why we called him Caveman. So yeah, we got our 6th guy, his name's Caveman, and we were pretty much set until 2 of our guys quit. they put in their 2 weeks notice and they were just gone. So our team of 6 became a team of 4, and quite frankly, you cannot do our job with a team of 4. We were somewhat getting by with a team of 5, but I feel like for our job, if you want to like function if you want everything to go by smoothly and you don't want to go into overtime or overwork staff, you want a team of like 6 or more. So we were barely getting by, and you know, at first it was basically showing Caveman the works, just showing him how to do the job and whatnot, what to do, what not to do, and because he was new to the job, so it was pretty understandable. It was pretty understandable that we need to show him the ropes. So it was about that for a week, and a week turned into 2 weeks, and 2 weeks turned into 3, and 3 turned into 2 months, and yeah, for the entire time he worked with us, he acted like a new guy. And he was with us for a couple months, and he slowly became unbearable to work with. But for some reason, we couldn't get rid of him. There was something stopping the higher ups from firing him for some reason that I don't know to this day why. Like, we had this rule to where, you know, you couldn't wear your earbuds going into the main floor. Like, because we worked in the back, it was okay for us to have our earphones in. But when we were pulling onto the main floor, we had to take them out, and we also had to conceal them because customers might need our help, and we also don't want to run into people who are spotting people on power equipment. And yeah, we gotta hear out for those. He didn't really follow this rule, and it didn't help that they also just flat out made the rule to where you couldn't have your earbuds in at all, regardless of whether you were in the back or on the main floor. And he had AirPods, and he did not get a haircut to hide his AirPods. Like, we call him Caveman for a reason. He just looked disheveled. And I'm gonna post a picture that best describes what he looked like, except like, imagine this, but disheveled. Like, combine this with Crazy Dave from Plants vs. Zombies, and that's pretty much what you get. Anyway, he thought that he could hide his AirPods with his hair, but it was really easy to tell when he was when he had his AirPods in, because when he was listening to music, he went from being tone deaf to actually deaf. He could not hear anything, and it was one of the reasons that made it unbearable to work with him. He cussed out an ASM. I think ASM stands for Active Service Manager, or something like that. He cussed out a manager for asking him to take out his AirPods, and he didn't get fired. I don't understand. He was extremely lazy and hypocritical. Like, 1 minute he's telling me how he's lazy, how he doesn't want to be here, how he just wants to go home, and then the next minute he's like, you know, I'm good for the job, you know, they should be grateful that I even come in, and like, if they pay me, if I work 3 hours, they should pay me for working 4 hours. Like, I did not understand this man. He was older than anybody else in the unknown team. Like, we're in our 20s, he's in his 30s. And he was acting like a man-child. Like, he was Like, I remember there was one day where one of our guys had to call in for a long amount of time because he got in a car accident. And when he came back, and no, I'm getting ahead of myself. So we had a coworker. He got in a car accident, right? Our caveman refused to work with us until he came back. Man actively hid in the back room, the break room, the training room, and the bathroom. It was just... And like, yeah, although we would get 2 more guys making our team of 4, team of 6, but it was basically just a team of 5 because Caveman didn't help at all. Like, one of the reasons we called him Caveman was not just because of the way he looked, but because all he was really good for was physical stuff. You couldn't trust him to do anything else. All you could trust him to do, you could barely trust him to do physical stuff. Like, yeah, I will painfully admit he was the strongest guy on our team, but you couldn't trust him to be in the car, you couldn't trust him to be in the freight truck, taking down boxes and putting it on the line, because he would just give up halfway through, leave the truck unmanned, and not tell anybody, or be like, hey, can you switch out with me? I'm really tired, man. I need a break on the line or something. He would just up and leave. And if you leave the freight truck without a person, that stops the whole operation. We could barely trust him. We couldn't trust him to properly take boxes off the line and pallet stack them, because he would pallet stack them terribly. And if the box is stacked terribly, when you pull them, they're gonna fall over, and now you got to fix someone else's mess. And he was lazy about fixing the pallets too. You could barely trust him to pull pallets, because he would pull stuff to the wrong departments. And he lacked spacing. Like, imagine you're at the back, imagine you're at like Walmart, and you're walking the right aisle, or the white wall aisle, and then in front of you, all you see is just pallets, just jumbled up on the right wall, and you could barely walk through with a cart. That's what he did, and it was so insufferable. And he wouldn't listen. And when he did listen, it was in one ear, out the other. When he had his AirPods in, you needed to literally get in front of him and get his attention with hand signs, because you could be within 6 feet of him, calling his name, shouting his name, and he could not hear you. That's why I say he went from being tone deaf to actually deaf. It was such a mess to work with him. I remember there was one day he came into work. No, not even one day. He did this a couple times. There were a couple times where he straight up just vanished, hid in either the break room's bathroom or the training room for hours at a time. There was accounts that he was going to customers and talking to them about the Civil War when he should be working, and he would also just talk about the weirdest things. It was just, he was always bragging about getting his medical marijuana license, since while also being on probation. It was, I didn't understand him. He would snap at you if you just tried to tell him what to do for no reason at all. I wrote paragraphs to the higher ups describing his behavior, and like, it was just a nightmare to work with, because you could be having a great day, you could be having a fantastic day, but then as soon as you see this guy, your mood drops. That's how it felt. Like, I would not look forward to work because I knew he would be there. I would actively try not to talk to him. I would avoid talking to him as much as possible, because he'd just say some dumb stuff that would just ruin your day. When he didn't get fired. Surprisingly, he didn't get fired. He just quit and left back to his home in Florida. And apparently, so you know, with these work phones, and apparently they cost $1,500 each. He took like 6 of them. 6 of them. You can't trust this guy with expensive equipment like that. If you don't trust this guy to run the cashier, to run as a cashier, why would you trust him with these phones? And like, we've been having phone problems, like phones going missing and stuff. And you give the most untrustworthy person in the entire store at Heights a $1,500 phone 6 times. I don't know who did it, but whoever did, I hope they got fired for that. And apparently later on we learned that it's against the law to talk bad about him when people ask for a reference, even though it's the truth. But yeah, that was, working with that guy was a nightmare. And anyway, getting back on topic with my job, aside from that, one of the main problems and issues with our job is that we were always understaffed, overworked, and we always worked into overtime. It wasn't, our shifts were scheduled to be 4 hours long, but it's not so much we got off at the 4-hour mark, or it wasn't so much we clocked out at the 4-hour mark. It was more so we leave when we leave. When we're done, we're done. So sometimes 4-hour shifts could turn into 5-hour, or dare I say 6-hour long. And I know some people watching will probably be like, but 6-hour shift, that's not that bad. I'm a full-time student first and a part-time worker second. I can't work a surprise 6-hour shift and then wake up. I can't work a surprise 6-hour shift going late into the night, go home, and then wake up early in the morning for a college class, only to rinse and repeat for the rest of the week. I can't work like that. I can't function like that. It took me a while. I was blinded by the fact that this was my first official job, that it was overworking me, it was overtaxing me, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. After Caveman quit, we were a 4-man team because one of the new guys that we got after Caveman quit. Then there was one day that was a nightmare that I will never forget. So I came into work one day. We had a truck, but I was the only person that came into my department. I was the only person scheduled to come in that came in. One of our guys was on vacation. Well, no, okay. One of the new guys, he just up and left. We never saw him again. Another guy, he called in for vacation. there was technically a fifth guy who also called in on vacation, and the last guy called in sick. So it was just me having to work a truck alone. And it's not great. It was not good. I was in full panic mode because I didn't even have a forklift license. And luckily, one of my old managers who was so we've gone through about 3 managers before getting to this guy, and he had to step down from the position for some reason, but he was still working, and he was still a really great manager. He was a really great guy. He even gave me permission to put him down as a reference for future jobs, which is great. Anyway, he sees I'm the only person here, so he calls in people from other departments to come in and help me. Did we get the job done? Yeah. Did the shift turn from a 4-hour shift to a 5-hour shift? Yeah. Was I extremely overworked and overtaxed because I needed to stay positive while helping people who were not used to working in my department help me work? Yes. I need to take a drink real quick. But yeah, after that, I was extremely sore. That was the worst I'd ever felt physically. And I wanted the following 2 days off because I looked at the schedule, we didn't have trucks, so I was like, okay, I want these 2 days off. I'm gonna call in, everything's gonna be good. About that, the guy who called in sick called me to relay a message that our current manager wants us in for a mandatory meeting, and if you don't show up, he'll put you down as notice of quitting. Basically threatening us Benson style from the regular show. So reluctantly, I come in, legs weak, arms are heavy, no vomit on my sweater, and I'm waiting for the meeting. I actually show up early. 10 minutes go by, 20 minutes go by, 30 minutes go by, 40 minutes go by, and we realize our manager is not showing up. Our manager was the only no-show. Threatens us to come in, then proceeds to not come in himself. So yeah, I got those 2 days off, but not before writing a strongly worded, not before me and the other guys told the other managers about what he was doing, and I helped one of the guys write an email about it. Like, I was physically broken down, but this guy, the guy who called in sick and was still sick and was forced to come in under a threat, he was having an emotional breakdown. And yeah, I don't know how this guy even became a manager. It's just crazy. So yeah, that happened. Then after that, this will be around the time that this semester, spring 2022 started. And my first week of school, pretty nice, pretty chill. But then the second week of school, I had jury duty for 2 days, and on the second day of jury duty, I would have a shin splint from overwork. And then that Friday, I was just... Then that Friday, I don't know what hit me, but I just came down with something that made me sick for the entire third week of classes. And after going to the doctor for a visit, the doctor said that it looked like it could have been a sinus infection, but all the signs also pointed to COVID, and like I could have very well had COVID and not have known about it at all. Because I work at a pretty public place, so you have to be careful. I always have my mask, always have some hand sanitizer, but sometimes being careful isn't enough. What's more is that one of my coworkers also said that he tested positive this Sunday. That Sunday, and I was around him, so could have been. But yeah, I missed about 2 weeks of classes, and I was in a very bad shape because of my job. And I sat down to think about it, and I was like, if I wanted to get caught up on classes, I can't work my job anymore. I need to quit effectively immediately, especially due to the fact that my mom also pointed out that ever since I started working, my GPA was getting lower. So yeah, job had to go. I sent in my doctor's note for why I was sick and calling off for so many days in the third week. Going into the fourth week, I would work on getting caught up on my classes and putting in my 2 weeks notice. I put in an email that this day would be my last day. I think it was let me check my calendar. My last day of working at Heights was September 26th. So it's been about a month since. So I put my 2 weeks notice in on the 12th. I emailed the managers and higher ups that I needed to email, notifying them that the 26th would be my last day of working. And everything seemed relatively good for the most part until the 18th. Where I'd come into work only to discover that I wasn't in the system. Someone had taken me out of the scheduling and system. I couldn't clock in, I couldn't log into the website, the work website that we use. When it asked me to, when I tried going through the process of like, at first I thought I just forgot my password, so I tried doing that, but then it just said I'm not allowed for some reason. Talked to a manager, and they discovered that I was taking the system somehow, and the only 2 people responsible was one lady who I'd never interacted with in my life, and our current manager, both of which weren't there. Because they couldn't have me working off the clock, I just had to leave. I couldn't really do much of anything, so I had to leave my crew a man down and just leave. It actually sucked because that Sunday I was actually looking forward to working. Like, I was just gonna do the most I could to help out with the new guys, because we got an influx of new guys after I put my 2 weeks notice in, which is crazy. it's like we had been struggling with being a man down for so long. We had been a team of 3 for so long, it was just crazy. And then after one of our guys quits and I'm sick, I come back, we have like 4 or 5 new guys, making us a team of 7. It was crazy, but what's done was done. I decided I couldn't do this work anymore. It was breaking me down in more ways than one. And I was going to finish my last 2 weeks strong. And I was going to help out with teaching the new guys the ropes and stuff like that. But anyway, that Sunday, I just had to go home because they wouldn't let me work off schedule. And I planned on catching my manager that following Monday because he was scheduled to come in that Monday. And I had to catch him really early. For some reason, he worked from 7 to 4. Why is this crazy? Because he quits an hour before our work shift. Or not quits, clocks out an hour before our work shift, which is just wild to me. And also explains why we never see him, and I was never around. Anyway, I wake up early at 8. Catch him. I confront him about like why I've been taken out of the system, and all I can hear are excuses. No Johns. All I hear are excuses. How, well, this one lady saw that you had called in so many days, even though I gave a doctor's note. How you didn't give us a date on when your final day was actually gonna be, when it's literally in the first, it's literally just show me it, just put in the picture. You can see it's right there. It's right there. September 26th, 2022. And just all these excuses and nonsense. And he told me that, he was gonna talk to the lady. He's gonna talk to the woman that he was putting the blame on when she came back from lunch to get me back in the system. And I was like, okay, I'll wait. And he was like, oh no, you might just want to leave. This is probably gonna take a while. And I'm like, how long? He says 3 hours, and I can't risk that because in 3 hours my classes start, and I didn't want to risk missing more classes because I'd already missed about 2 weeks thanks to jury duty and being sick. I missed a full week and then part of the jury duty week, but still my point stands. I didn't want to miss any more classes. I didn't want to risk it, so I reluctantly give him my phone number so he can call me to let me know when everything's been taken care of. I have classes for the next, for the next 5 hours. I didn't get a single phone call from him. Not one. Not one phone call. I let all my teachers know in advance that I might have to excuse myself for a phone call because my big problems at work. And I'm just sitting there waiting with my phone on vibrate. No phone call. My last class of the day ends at 3:50. I drive as fast as I can to the Heights to try and catch him. I missed him, but the woman he was putting the blame on is there. So I talked to her about it, and I get the truth. The truth was that my manager termed me early. For what reason? I don't know. And apparently this wasn't the first time he had done this, because there was another person who put in that 2 weeks notice and he termed them the following day. But luckily for me, she put me back in the system and I was able to finish up. My last week, and I also got paid for the work days that I missed because I'd been wrongfully terminated. So yeah, the reason I've been gone for so long is because of all that nonsense at work, and also getting caught up on my classes and just readjusting to relaxing, because having to deal with all that nonsense at work, plus falling behind in classes, plus recovering from falling behind in classes, plus getting sick, plus recovering from being sick, plus recovering from a shin splint. It was a lot. It was a lot to deal with at the time. But hey, I'm better, and I'm back. And yeah, that's basically why I've been gone since for a while. It's been crazy. But yeah, now that you guys are all caught up, you can expect me to come back to making some videos. I don't know if you guys saw my Twitter or not, but I uninstalled Xenoverse 2. Just nothing bad happened. I just need a break from it. And I need a break from it. I can't really see myself playing it in its current state. And I'm just not really happy with the game. And quite frankly, if you're not happy with the game, you're gonna install it, right? That's what you should do. Play some things that make you happy. So, yeah, Xenoverse 2, gone. For now. Maybe I'll come back when it gets better. Who am I kidding? It's not gonna get better. But, yeah, that's all I got to say. I wasn't expecting to ramble on for like almost 40 minutes. I haven't even had breakfast yet. But, yeah, I'm back. That's all I gotta say. I'll be on for the video. Talk to you later. Stay fantastic.
Over here, you can destroy. I will finish this.